The study of reincarnation points to an evolutionary model of consciousness. According to this model, each of us is pure consciousness evolving through incarnations. Every incarnation offers unique lessons, opportunities, and challenges. As we learn over many lifetimes, eventually our learning from this reality, or Earth School, is complete. That is when we graduate to the next reality. This video explores the evolution of consciousness and provides tools to accelerate your evolution. Part 1. Understanding densities. The most comprehensive information about the evolution of consciousness comes from the raw material, a set of channeled sessions conducted between 1979 and 1984. The sessions are available on the LL Research website for free. According to this material, consciousness evolves through stages of reality called densities. The higher the density level, the more light or strands of source energy are available for learning and creation. Each higher density offers a more complex reality than lower ones, thus facilitating higher stages of evolution. One familiar example of the evolution of complexity comes from movies. In the beginning, movies were simple black and white moving images with no sound. This changed in 1927 when the movie The Jazz Singer added sound to the motion picture. With an added dimension of sound, movies became much more expressive. Since then, this art form has taken giant leaps with the introduction of color, music, background score, special effects, and computer graphics. Just as art forms evolve in expressiveness, consciousness evolves in its ability to express the creative force of source energy through densities. An exploration of densities. According to the raw material, there are 7 densities similar to notes on a musical scale. Let's briefly explore these densities and the opportunities they offer. The journey of consciousness begins at the source, the primal field where individualized consciousness takes birth, and then undertakes a unique journey of evolution. The beginning stage, the first density, is existence in the most primitive form of the basic elements: earth, air, fire, and water. While a rock may not appear conscious, its essence, matter, is a form of intelligent energy. In the first density, consciousness possesses an atomic body. In the second density, consciousness experiences movement and growth. This is the density of animal and plant life, from unicellular organisms to complex animals. The second density consciousness has a chemical body that requires sustenance and is subject to decay based on physical laws. The third density is the density in which we as human beings are currently evolving. This is the density of self-awareness and free will. The two faculties provide consciousness an ability to choose how to interact with other beings. No wonder this density is also called the density of choice. The metaphysical choice we make is between serving ourselves or serving others. Graduating from this density requires choosing one of these two polarities to a sufficient degree. We will discuss this density in further detail after briefly exploring the higher densities, which are somewhat difficult to understand from the human perspective. A human trying to grasp higher densities is a bit like the previously mentioned rock trying to understand a cat, or the cat trying to understand human civilization. Due to conceptual and language limitations, we will work only with a high-level summary. Upon graduation from the third density, consciousness moves to the fourth density, the density of love. Some fundamental changes take place in the fourth density. As part of evolution, consciousness learns to work with the collective rather than expressing itself individually. This is similar to how unicellular organisms combine to form complex plants and animals. The other change is that the body, the vessel for consciousness, advances from a chemical body to a light body. A light body does not suffer from the physical limitations that affect lower densities. The fifth density, known as the density of wisdom, is about learning to balance love. While love is a powerful force, it cannot be used for the highest good without adequate wisdom. The density of wisdom is all about learning how to use the power of love in the highest possible way to serve creation. The sixth density is the density of unity and balance. In this density, the goal is to achieve the perfect balance between love and light, which are mastered separately in the fourth and fifth densities. The seventh density, called the gateway density, is the highest in an octave of evolution. At this stage, the individual consciousness is ready to merge its identity back into the source from where it originated. In this density, consciousness knows itself as the source energy and thus experiences eternity. This is the grand circle of evolution at the universal scale, a magnificent adventure of exploring and mastering the creative force of source energy. Part 2. How to graduate from the third density. The goal of the human journey is to graduate from our current density, the density of choice. What lessons do you need to master to graduate? According to the raw material, there are two pathways to graduation: service to oneself or service to others. Note that both choices are valid because we are all a part of Source. Of course, the experience of existence differs on the two paths. The path of service to self is the path of seeking power over others. It requires learning in an environment of constant power struggle with others, and thus is the path of disharmony and suffering. The path that we will focus on is service to others. Rather than self-interest, you consciously make choices that lead to the well-being of the collective. Service to others requires evolving beyond the core instincts of survival and competition, which are part of the second density, animal existence. To evolve as humans is about learning to think of the whole and cooperate. By working with others in harmony, the human experience transforms to an experience of shared joy. On the path of service to others, a common concern is the question of balance. How should you focus on serving others without neglecting your own needs? First, let's understand that acting out of concern for others also benefits you. When you plant flowers for a neighbor, you too benefit from their beauty and fragrance. Genuine concern for others opens the doorway to the joy of service, which puts us in the primal frequency of love. Second, serving others doesn't mean that everything you do must benefit the collective, while ignoring your own needs. Fortunately, the raw material suggests that more than 50% of your choices be driven by concern for others. 50% reflects the perfect balance between caring for yourself and caring for others. Your choices should benefit others and yourself without neglecting either. There is a mistaken belief in our society that these choices are mutually exclusive. They are not. The key is service, not sacrifice. While sacrifice has been emphasized heavily in some spiritual traditions, it is unwise because it neglects your own needs. Spiritual maturity requires that you honor yourself with self-care, rejuvenation, joyous activities, and pleasure as appropriate. Only by taking care of yourself can you serve with joy, not resentment. Obstacles to spiritual evolution. While evolution from third to fourth density is as natural as a seed growing into a plant, our planet has problems that interfere with evolution. Imagine a school where most of the students were heavily intoxicated. Instead of focusing on learning, their energies would be spent on activities related to experiencing these intoxicants. This addiction would keep them stuck in the school. The word toxic is inherent in the word intoxicants. Just as toxicity in soil hampers a plant's growth, intoxicants on our planet hinder spiritual evolution. The first intoxicant is powerlessness. Because of toxic philosophies as well as negativity that is constantly injected into the mass consciousness by media, people are conditioned into victimhood. The rise of self-serving and all-powerful religions, corporations, and governments has added to the pervasive sense of powerlessness. When people feel powerless, they can't even take care of themselves, let alone serve and be the light that guides others. The second intoxicant is distraction. When people are distracted, they pursue inconsequential activities rather than growth. Unfortunately, corporations on our planet have a monetary interest in keeping people hooked on various substances, media, and mindless entertainment. Powerlessness and distraction feed on each other to create a negative spiral. When people feel powerless, they turn to distractions to numb their pain. And the more distracted people are, the less power they have available to do what really matters. The third intoxicant is power. Most people who escape powerlessness get stuck in the trap of power. They devote their lives to the endless pursuit of money, power, and control over others. Unfortunately, the more power one accumulates, the more is needed to maintain that power, thus creating a never-ending spiral of greed. It's critical to avoid the intoxicants of powerlessness, distraction, and power if you want to spread light and joy. Part 3. Commitments and Practices. To graduate from third density, here are the core commitments you need to make. The first is the commitment to spiritual wisdom. Making the most of human experience requires spiritual wisdom, which comes from knowing yourself as a portion of the source energy. This perspective of oneness is known as non-duality. Our platform has videos to help you cultivate this perspective and align your life with it. Second is the commitment to service. You commit to service by offering your life to a higher mission, one of developing your capacity to love and share your gifts with others. The word develop needs to be emphasized here. We all differ in our capacity to love because of numerous influences. The point is not to be limited by where we are, but to work on developing ourselves through learning and application. Third, commit to seeking other lightworkers on this journey together. The work of consciousness is meant to be done as a collective, not alone. The power of light rises exponentially when we work as a collective. Additionally, we prevent mistakes, frustration, and burnout by supporting each other. Here are the practices that will help you live a life aligned with service. The first practice is to remember your true nature. Behind the appearance of a human form, you are the source energy itself, and so is everyone else. You can develop this understanding by studying books and being with people who manifest unity consciousness. Second, commit resources to service. Unless you commit your time and money to service, these resources will keep getting consumed by the myriad distractions of our consumerist society. Allocate time and money that you can sustainably devote to service. Find at least one way you can serve others without expecting anything in return, and then serve with the best of your ability. Third, work on expanding your circle of service. The first relationship you have is with yourself, and that is where service starts, with nurturing yourself. When you take time for self-care and inner nourishment, you transform your capacity to serve. Next, serve those who are closest to you. When you think of service, it is tempting to get carried away by big ideas of helping people in a third world country. But why not start with your family? After all, they are portions of source energy that is closest to you. To serve your family is a core lesson you are here to learn, which is why you incarnated with them. Next, serve the community around you. What does your community need? Do you have knowledge and skills that can help others in your community? Maybe all they need is someone with initiative who can bring the community together. Can you be that person? As you expand your circle of service, you will gain skills and insights that will help you serve at a bigger scale. Exercises. Let's do a brief exercise with 3 simple questions. After each question, pause the video and write your answers before moving to the next question. 1. How can you serve? Find at least one way. 2. What are your specific commitments to service? How much time and money do you want to allocate to service? 3. What are the next steps for those commitments?